What's up, traders? Just making a little video here on Saturday, just kind of doing my homework and kind of finally got a little bit of time to relax by myself. Kids are asleep. Wife decided to go upstairs, watch a show in bed. So I figured I would pull up the alerts from Intensity Stockwatch and their scanners and just kind of go over them real quick. Kind of see what they showed us. These are obviously just the top alerts, and you can see the max gain, the lowest on each, 7.8% on the bullish alerts and 9.6% on the bearish. So looks like there was a total of 36 bullish alerts and 33 bearish alerts. Try to say that 5 times fast. But so these aren't obviously the only ones that you could have made money on. One that I don't see on here that I know was an alert was CLF, because I traded it, which also made a pretty good move. So we will just go over these real quick. I had actually already checked out Palm, but I'll pull it back up real quick. So Palm's alert was at 9:47. This is in Pacific time, but as you can see, I'm in Eastern time, but the alerts are in Pacific time, so it's 3 hours behind. So 9:47 was the alert. So let's find 9:47. So right here. So it gave us the alert. This is a bearish alert. So right here on this candle, let's scroll on this third candle right here. So basically what that's saying is, you're getting your intensity right here. The volume came down, it decided to turn around, and it was showing that there was a little bit of a bearish reversal probably coming, which you actually got it immediately. If you were to play in this, it actually turned out to be a really good move. As you can see, scrolling a little bit more, from here she kind of popped back up and she started the old descending triangle. And just to show you guys, let me pull up a new window. Let's see, intensity, center. Okay. Let me just log in over here. Just in case there's any reason for it to give anything away, which it does not look like there was. Actually, now there was, because I had to check it. And there we go. Okay. So bring it back over. Let me do the Learning Center. Go to the blueprints. Where are they? I'm missing it. I feel like I'm missing it, and could have swore it was in here. Maybe it's up here. And there it is, sorry. Okay. So this, as he shows on his channel, it's, when you really break it down, it's simple. You have your modes within the waves that the stock market creates. So you obviously start with optimism as it's coming up. People start getting excited. All right, the thrill's there, and like it says, most traders buy here looking for, FOMO, breakout, and that's the euphoria. At this time, when all those people are piling in, that's what sets off the scanner, which lets us know that the odds are you're going to run out of buyers and she's going to come back down. So then as it starts coming back down, anxiety kicks in, the denial / fear kind of starts to kick in, then desperation back down here, and then once you get below that support line, bam, panic sets in, and then that's when you get those big panic sells. And then that's when people stop out because it went below the support line, and then this is when you would buy because then now you run out of sellers. So the odds are she's going to continue back up. I wanted to find what the chart I was looking for. This is bullish. So when you get a move up, obviously if we pull palm back up, this isn't a huge move up, right? Not like it's shown in the charts, but you know, there's going to be other examples that I show you. Oops. But in this case, you know, when you get a big, say, parabolic move up, the odds are she's going to come down, she's going to get bought up after it sells off, you know, like a pullback, and then she'll most likely either, I mean, there's two options always, obviously, and one of them's going to be right. She's either going to continue, or if she doesn't want to continue, she'll probably start to form a triangle, which is usually the odds of a descending triangle in this case. Obviously, there's going to be failed attempts where she comes here, squeezes, and then goes up again. You know, she was just taking a breather. But in most cases, when you get a big move like this and she starts coming down and forming a triangle, you're going to get this flush out. And a lot of times you will see that you'll get this flush out and she'll come down to here, and then sometimes you won't get this remaining pattern that's shown here. You'll actually get a steady climb back up towards high day, and that's just how it is. Like there's obviously going to be different patterns, but the two that I see the most are this one, which is pretty much a fade for the rest of the day, because people lost interest and they saw that it failed. And then you have another one where it'll fail once, but then people aren't done with it yet. You have the original people maybe that were down here that sold up here. Now they're looking to get back in because they're buying the fear of the sell-off. And then that's what brings it back up. And then usually you'll see maybe a double top. And then maybe she'll do this again. And then the third time, if she does come back up, is usually the charm. And it'll possibly go through. That's why you see those late day runners where they make a new high and they just keep going. So now if we go back to the chart, obviously you'll see that this one faded, but this is pretty much what I'm trying to get at. Is she came up, here's your this would be a positive intensity event. She came down just like in the chart, came up and started forming the triangle. At the end of the triangle, she completes her formation, and you could have got, let's see, if you would have got in right here when she was squeezing tight, say at 110, she drops all the way down to near $1, and honestly, she never really gave you a reason to get out if you wanted to hold it for a little bit, if you're looking for that dollar break. So, I mean, you could have got the dollar break, and then later in the day, she just kind of kept dropping off, hit a low at 86 cents. So, now that you know where I'm coming from with that, let's check out our next one, which is SNNA at 939. So 939, and you start to realize that you can actually see where the alerts probably are. So it actually gave it to us on this candle. And then she did kind of pull back a little bit, and then she ripped again. Just like I said, this was just a pullback here. Now the idea of the intensity scanner is not to say, hey, I'm going off, we're about to turn around and go down. It's to get you to look at the chart and kind of start to get a feel for the chart. And you can kind of see she kind of came down, came back up, pulled back, went back up. So you got to look for these. You have to feel out, what's happening. And in this case, you saw she was near high. She was coming up to high a day again, and this is a pretty standard pattern as well. You'll see it come down. It'll start to U back up. The odds are she's going to at least come up and retest it, which she almost did. She actually wasn't even strong enough to get to there. But on this candle, you would have been looking at this chart based off the scanner. You could have saw that she went up. Once she failed here, she goes to the next 1 minute candle. She fails again, goes to the next 1 minute candle, tries again and fails. That should be a hint that it's probably a good time to get in. So even if you got in, say 343 or whatnot, I mean, she starts coming back down. She does try to come back up again, but that's where you gotta have patience. And you could have got out at 320, 20 cents at least. And then, I mean, that's when you see that she's starting to find her support again, that's when you get out. This one didn't really necessarily, well, actually, if you want to look at it, she came up, and then just right from the top, she kind of started forming that triangle. You can kind of see the support here. I'll draw it. It didn't really squeeze tight like you would like it to. Like if you look at the You know, it didn't really get you that tight squeeze that you're looking for, but I mean, she still gives you the triangle. So if you got in somewhere in here, even 336, even at the bottom of the triangle, 333, I mean, like I said, she flushed right down to 321, so you're getting at least 10 cents there. If you wanted to play the actual pop and you started getting in near the top here, say 345, you could have got over 20 cents. All right, let's go to the next one. MLNT. I am going to go over the bullish ones too, but I'm more of a short bias trader, so I like to go over these first. This alert was at 9:32, so it was right out of the gate, and we could kind of see that right away. So here's 9:32. She's squeezing up there, and hopefully I'll start to catch these live. Actually, my last trading video you'll see on CLF, I started to see it slow down on the chart, and that's, you know, I was looking for this exact move. I was looking for this, and I was looking to get the bottom of this, and I came pretty close. And then, because again, you're always going to get that pullback, and this was that pullback, and look what she did. She came up and tested that high again. So I didn't want to I don't want a chance still being in this when she comes up to test this high, wondering whether she's going to fail or not. In this case, she did, but you know, there's always a chance that this rips and goes over $2, breaks the whole dollar, and then, you know, she goes off to the races. Because honestly, looking at this thing on the daily, you know, she had plenty of room. When you look left, I mean, she didn't really have anything until up here, which was around $3. So, and then at that point, you know, people start piling in, and she can go crazy. But anyways, as you see, she comes down, she comes back up, and she starts forming a triangle. Now she actually formed this one kind of low down here. She kind of tested it, so it might have tested your patience a little bit. But as you can see, she starts to squeeze. She's getting like coming in. She found the support, hits it again. She's getting closer and closer. And so even if you got in down here, say 185, and it's even a green to red move, so which you might not have had much faith in at this point, simply because of these candles. But neither here nor there. If you're playing the strategy, you get the move up, it comes back down, starts forming the triangle. I mean, look at what she did. So say you even got in right at the bottom of this triangle, 183. I mean, she dips all the way down here to 165. So not a huge move, but you know, 18 cents if you got in real late and bottom ticked it, or if you got in, you know, late and didn't bottom tick it. I mean, she gave you a couple opportunities right here in 170, 171. So I mean, you're still making over 10 cents on this one. Excuse me. And next we got YRIV. Let's do a little math. 1027. YRIV. 1027. Right here. So it was. She came down, she came back up, and she actually started getting this, and it looks like she immediately dropped off. So this is one of those ones where you probably would have pulled up the chart and wouldn't have traded it. It wouldn't have made sense. If anything, I wonder. I'm looking at the bullish alerts to see if it was on there, because this is one where you'd see the sell-off. It was probably an alert this way, and then you could have looked to get this pop. But again, sub dollar. Also, just when you pull up the charts, sometimes you just like any scanner, you're not always going to get a home run. I mean, obviously this was a top alert, because if you would have got in at the alerted price, which was, I'm trying to pull it over, it was at 88 cents. So right here, and then she hit a low of 76 cents. So for a sub dollar stock, you know, it's a big move, you know, if you were to capture the whole thing. But cents wise, it's not that big. So all right, ACET at 11:45. Let's see, 11:45 right there. See, I mean, you can kind of just look for the big moves and kind of start to figure it out. So this looks like one where she kind of somewhat did it, the descending triangle, but this one was a little bit harder to spot. This would have probably been a much better, you know, watching her hit the top and coming back out. If you look at 182, let's see if there's any. Yeah, there's some resistance on the daily there, which that's another thing when you pull up the chart. That's why I like having the daily down here. You can immediately kind of look where some resistance might be as she's going up for the bearish reversal. But Right here, the alert price on this one was 177. So as she's coming up, she hits a high of 182. So if you're looking at the chart, you kind of feel that she's stopping. You could get in here. If you did, great, because I mean, she came down. Clearly wasn't a pullback. She just kept on going. I mean, it looks like she might have tried a little bit here, but she definitely didn't. So if you got in 180, I mean, she popped down. She gave you a chance at 166, like right away, so over 10 cents. And even she chilled out here at 168. So, I mean, you were definitely getting some profit there. And even if you waited till here, you're still getting 8 cents before she eventually, like if you got scared out here looking like she was going to fly back up, even though she didn't, I mean, you're still getting the 8 cents or 7 cents. Obviously, as I'm going down the chart, they're getting less and less percentage gains, but just trying to show you, this one wasn't exactly a descending triangle. I mean, could be, if you really want to look at it. Oops. She came down, she's forming a triangle here, she found her support, and then look, right there's one candle where she squeezed. There wasn't a lot of volume. I mean, this thing didn't have a lot of volume anyway, but where'd my, that's not what I want. Not what I want. There it is. Okay. Next one was iron. This was right at the bell, so obviously we probably wouldn't be looking at that. OHRP, I mean, we can look at it just to see what it looked like. And so right there, let's see, 29. Is that, did it say 29? No, it says 59, 359. Okay, so yeah, it got this one. It might have got this one as well. It just might not have been as big of a move because it registered this to here, which was an 80-cent move. That would have been real nice. But what it's doing is it's finding the high point, which was here, or from the alert, which the alert was at 558. Jeez, wait, no, that can't be right. 629. Sorry, I was looking at the low cents. So that's what it did. It got it here at 629, and then it found this low, which was right here, 528. That's why that move is on the top alerts and not this move, because the percentage gain wasn't as much. So that was actually a really good move in both cases. This probably was on there earlier. You could have felt the top, and look, she did not give you a reason either. And then she somewhat did a descending triangle, but who knows what this candle did. That's kind of an interesting candle to look at. Looks like she tried to pop back up, and then people just probably smash right back down. So next we have OHRP. This will be the last one for this one, and then we'll do some of the bullish ones. So OHRP at 940. So this one was closer to the bell. So okay, we'll do another one because obviously this is a chart, no volume. You obviously wouldn't be trading this. So we'll do Riot at 1252. Yep, right there. So this one would have been interesting, and I'll tell you why. So you come up, you could have played the pop, and I like to call it the pop and drop. You could have felt it out. She pops. You could have played this drop, and there you go. So I mean, not much here. It's not a quick mover sense-wise. Max 8 cents there, but if you want to get into the extra move here, she starts forming her descending triangle. Right here she comes down, comes back up. I personally like to let it come down, and then on that candle back up is where I start drawing my triangle. And as you can see, this one actually came down, and instead of flushing, she went back up. However, some people, this is where you kind of set your risk. You could use high of day. So if you wanted to use 239, got in at 229, that's perfect for calculations. So you have a 10-cent risk. We'll just say you got in at 230 right here. So we'll say 240 is your risk, because you always kind of want to go above high of day, because if she hits high of day, then that's when you want out, or not when you want out, because high of day technically was 239, so you most times you want to go above that because a lot of people stack in at the high day to try to push it back down, and that could be like your last hope if you're putting a max risk. But anyways, so let's just say 10 cents is your risk here, 230 to 240. You have a max loss of $100. So that $100 you then, or that 10 cents you can divide into that $100. Or yes, I feel like I'm doing this wrong in my head. It's getting late. $100 divided by, there we go. $100 is your max loss divided by the 10 cents. It gives you 1,000. So that would be your share size. So you could take 1,000 shares if you want your max loss to be $100 with your 10-cent risk. If you wanted it to be $50, you would only take 500 shares. So you get the point. If you want it to be $25, 250 shares, and so forth. So, but what I'm getting at here is she does the pattern. A lot of people will say, "Oh crap, she didn't flush. I'm getting out." That's what a lot of people do, and that's why this ends up happening, and you are frustrated later on in the day, or not even 20-30 minutes later, because you could have set a stop loss. I don't really set hard stops unless the kids are making me get up from the computer. Whole other story on that. But in this case, if you had your mental stop or hard stop even in place here at 240, you can see she never even comes close to that. What did I do? 230. I just zoomed out. So 234. Yeah, 234 was the highest it got. And then she came right back down. Not only gets under your entry, she pops back up again. So you're kind of like, eh. So she's grinding along, kind of getting on your nerves, and then she finally, technically formed another triangle right here as she got tight, and she finally broke down. And then 218. So now you're over 10 cents. If you wanted to just hold, feeling the volumes dying out, she's obviously probably not coming back. You even got another flush down here to 212. And then she kind of settled in around 218-ish area. So you would have got over 10 cents on this one if you were just patient. All right. So sorry for that little long drawn out thing, but I just wanted to explain where I was coming from and why stops are important and all that good stuff. So let's start. Actually, we'll start on. We'll just do the top 5. Well, actually, there's Riot on there twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll start with MLNT, and then when we're on Riot's chart, we'll do it twice. Then we'll check both alerts. MLNT. So the alert was at 9:31. Excuse me. 9:31 at 177. So this one was dumping out of the gate, and at 9:31 it felt that it was really dumping, and sure enough, she decides to reverse. So this is basically the same thing as the other ones where we were looking for it to come up and feel it out and then get in for the drop. These are the same thing. You're buying fear instead of euphoria now. So she's coming down, you feel that she's stopping as she starts to come back up, and then bam. I mean, look at this the old dip and rip. So she dipped down and then she ripped. So we had the descending triangle for this. In most cases, I mean, this is right out of off the bell, so it's a little different. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll have a better example. But I mean, you could have got in as she's coming back up, even looking for red to green maybe. So if you got in like 184, there you go. You get 12 cents if you top ticket. She actually attempted twice, so you could have saw that she was failing too, and you could have got out somewhere in the 190s for hopefully at least 10 cents. Next one up is ACET, ACET, and that was at 1124. 1124 right here. Okay. So yeah, this one kind of does it just on low volume, but as you can see, she comes down. There's a little bit of a panic sell or just a flush. Comes back up, comes back down, and then she starts to form an ascending triangle, even though it's not the best to look at, but it is. That's not where that should be. There we go. And then as she gets tight, look what happens. She goes back up. Ooh. I'm gonna pause, guys. I actually have to take this call. Hold on one sec. Okay, traders. So for you, that's gonna be about probably 5-10 seconds, but for me, it was about an hour and 15 minutes. Having an issue with my taxes. I do my own taxes via TurboTax, and we're having an issue. And so I started a call with their new live talk with CPAs, whatever. And I was on the phone last night for about 2 hours. We couldn't figure it out. And tonight they called back with what they thought was a solution, but on my end, it was not a solution. So for some reason, my version or my software is not reacting the same as their software. So now they're back to trying to figure out what to do, and they're going to try to get back to me tomorrow. So anyways, back to ACIT here. I'm not exactly sure what I covered, but obviously I was covering the ascending triangle. She had her negative intensity event. She came up, came back down, started forming the triangle. She squeezed real tight. So right here, 165, 166. We'll say 166 late. I mean, look what she did. All the way up to 182. So you're getting 15 cents there probably, because you're looking for that pop, and from what I showed you earlier, when you get these pops, the odds are they're going to come down, form a descending triangle, and flush. It's how the waves work. So that's exactly what happened. Scanner picked this one up, scanner picked this one up the other way, and you had two moves. So you could have watched this move, saw this one happening, and you could have completely reversed your position and made money both ways. So let's go back to here. So the next one is Riot, which comes up twice. So we got one at 134 and one at 1232. So we'll go to the 1232 one first. So let's see, 1232 right here. So this was a pretty good one. If you played the flush or scoop up the shares down here. She comes down on the scanners. Hopefully you had time to get to the chart, because pretty much right away, so she closed and then jumped here. So say you even got in a little bit late, 213. This isn't a big mover. This is probably one you might not trade. But what does she do? She comes down, pops back up, comes back down, and I mean, this one's pretty textbook too. These aren't the best to look at, but I mean, you can't ask for much more of a triangle there. And she does exactly what she's supposed to do. I mean, let me pull up if you come up to this one, it literally jumps down, comes up, comes back down, starts forming the triangle. That's exactly what happened. So if we go back to here, she comes down, comes back up, a little bit higher than when she came down, but I mean, it's all essentially the same thing. If anything, that's showing you that she didn't want to come down yet. She starts forming her triangle, and sure enough, right here we'll say 218. If you get on the triangle, she went all the way up to 240, or well, 239. But that's when she gave the intensity alert the other way for the bearish move, and look at what she did. She did the exact opposite. And this is the one that I explained earlier that, yeah, she did fail to flush. She just wasn't ready to flush yet, which could have been a result of this. I mean, look at the volume that did come in. She had a lot of volume in there, so people were trying to keep it up to make it run high a day again. It did not, and that's what you get. She finally flushed out once they realized it wasn't going there. So the other alert was at 134. So this must be when or was that, let's see, 134 is actually right here. Okay, so this was the flush of the other descending triangle. So this is one that would have been one of the ones that failed. I mean, she comes down, she comes back up, she kind of starts forming a triangle. I mean, I guess you could call this a little triangle right here. But, I mean, this is one I'm probably staying away from anyway. I mean, technically, if you got in somewhere right here to 22, I mean, she does pop up a couple cents. But as you can tell, the volume was light. At this point, people were out of it from the ones that got in here, and so she was actually just continuing down. But the intensity event that it got was because of here, It just, when you get these moves, when she fails a previous move like this, the odds are she's not going to necessarily reverse. However, she comes down, gets rid of all the sellers, so what does she do? She starts coming back up. So that's another thing you could look for, but that's not what we're going over right now. So next on the list we got FET, F-E-T, at 941. So 941 right here. So now let me go back any further. And maybe this was halted. Let me see. Yeah, interesting. So it must have been halted. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not going to get into it. But her first candle was at 937. She comes down. The alert was at 941. So 41. So it's picking it up right here. You come to the chart, you see that she could be stopping here, but she didn't really, she wasn't at her lows. So this is probably something you're just going to be watching, and then sure enough, she drops off. And this must have been some kind of news, because there's really no volume throughout all this either. You're also not looking to trade things without a lot of volume. So this is probably one I'm just staying away from. You see the move, but again, you see it on real low volume, so the odds are you're not going to get, like your rubber band effect, which is kind of what you're looking for. So like you're looking for something to come up here, maybe test VWAP, come back down, and then maybe start forming a triangle. And then this would actually be pretty explosive if you get the break, like if the triangle formed right into here and then broke through, you're probably going to get a nice little shot up. But that's obviously not what happened. So, obviously it gave you the alert, and from the alert, she decided to climb back up and make a pretty nice move, actually. So that's why it was on the scanner as a top alert. And the last one is UEPS. 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 And the alert was at 935. So let's scroll back. So 935 right here, it gave us the alert. Oops, didn't mean to click. And then she comes up, and you could definitely consider this a triangle. It's not a long one, but it is actually using that VWAP, just like I had told you. She comes up, almost tests VWAP, comes back down. This is also not a lot of volume either, so it's one of the ones you're probably not going to trade. But if you really want to look at it, she comes down, got your alert in this candle, comes back up, comes back down, starts forming her ascending triangle, and so you'd be in somewhere around 297. So you got VWAP, the break of 3, you got everything there working in your favor. If she goes through, that it's going to be a good move. So say 297, she pops right up to 307, probably maybe get 10 cents right there if you top ticket a little bit. But if you're just patient with it, she only drops down to 302, so you're still 5 cents in the green at her lowest point, and then she just steady climbs. And then somewhere in here, a lot of traders will start to see any kind of a decline, especially it looks like she went red to green, then she started to go back green to red. It would have been a good stop out to put, like if you were using hard stops, like 316 would have been a good one, or even 317, because 318 was the open right here, or the previous close. Yeah, previous close. So that's where a lot of people are looking to buy off of now, because it came through, made it new support, and then she kept climbing. So you could have been in down here 297, and you're talking up here. If you were just patient with this, every time it made a move up, it did not really flush back down. And sky's the limit here. You could have made 50 cents, and even if you took it down here, you're making 20 cents. So this was actually a pretty good trade, even though it wasn't on a lot of volume. Again, I don't like to really trade low volume, hence the name of the channel, the volatility trading. So I probably would have stayed away from this, but this was pretty much like, if you're into the slower plays, like you're not a fan of, the candles going like this, going up and down, being very volatile per se. But really this video was to show you guys the power of the scanner. And these alerts are coming up pretty much all morning. Usually around like 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, they'll kind of start dying off. But as you can see, you still get them throughout the day, all the way up until the bell. I mean, and that's what they're there for. You can set a sound. Actually, let me see if I can play a sound for you real quick. Like this is mine. I think you heard it in one of the previous videos. You can set it to that. You can set it, I mean, there's all kinds of different things. So it's like you could literally set that to your speakers, you know, walk away, do something else, and just, you know, if you hear it, you can run to the computer, you know, do your thing, see what it is, jump, you know, pull up the chart and see if it's something for you. But with that, guys, it's been a pretty long night for me now since TurboTax decided to run me around a little bit. But if you guys have any questions or comments about the scanners, just hit me up in the comments section. Obviously, please press the like button. Would love for you guys to subscribe. I plan to be putting out videos every day during the week as I'm trading. And then like today, I plan to make a video on Saturdays, you know, more of an informational style learning type video. Today was a little bit more about the scanners, more so than any kind of, but I believe within there, you know, I taught you the ascending triangle, descending triangle, and now I believe you'll be able to really kind of find them. Let me real quick go to the CLF to just kind of show you what my trade was. It was right out of the gate. She popped up and I saw that she was hitting a previous high from pre-market. She looked like she was, you know, I was literally watching it from like right here. I believe it came up on the scanners. I had already had it in my watch list, so I jumped right to it. I saw her coming up, and you can literally feel the stock kind of stopping. Like you just start to get that feel. And it's something that's relatively new to me, but it's something that I feel like I'm picking up on pretty quickly. You can watch time and sales, guys. You can watch level 2. I mean, there's nothing better than just kind of feeling it stop. Like you can just see, like if you are watching time and sales, you can kind of see the order slowing down. Level 2, you're not really going to be able to trade this strategy. I mean, you could, I guess, but really time and sales is like you see all the orders coming through, you see all the orders coming through, you see them coming through, and then they just start to kind of stop, and then you start to see some red coming in, and then that's usually when you get this move. And this isn't even the right day. Same type of move, not even the right day. Hold on. Let me scroll forward. Let me just switch this back. All right. So right out of the gate, it wasn't the same. I mean, it was kind of the same move. It just took a little bit longer. But I started to realize, like, well, I didn't think I made a trade on the first minute because I usually don't trade at the bell, like right at the bell. But pretty much the same thing. She came up, but she did make high a day, and I remember seeing this resistance, so she broke through. And usually when you break through a high a day, you get that extra push, which gets you extended. And I like to use VWAP for that. Like you can really see, like she's on VWAP, say that 5 times fast too. And then she broke through high a day, and then she got really extended. And this is where I really kind of felt her stalling. And it was still climbing on this candle. Let's see where this candle opened at 1196. So she opened right at pretty much the top of this candle, and she kept climbing, and then she dropped. So when this candle went to this candle, she was actually still green, and I was watching it, and like she went from like fast, and then she kind of started slowing down, and you could like really feel it slowing down. And then my entry was, actually I might be able to still check it, yep, 1201. So I got in short at 1201, which was actually as I was waiting for a little bit of a confirmation. So it was right here. And then as she was coming down, I felt her slowing down, and I got out at 1191 when I felt like she was slowing down. And literally right after I got out, which was right there, she kind of popped up a little because from what I felt, but then I guess some people just smashed her back down, and she actually came back down, but then finished the candle coming back up. So people were really getting back, you know, reading that this thing was done. And sure enough, she came back up, and this is where, now let me explain to you guys. I took 150 shares I actually was going over this in my journal. I took 150 shares, but if you're someone that's trading, say, 1,000 shares, right, and you get in my same entry point at 1201, when she drops here, and say you even got my same exit at 1191, you take half your position off, right? Because what happens if this comes down? This is just a pullback and she rips again, right? And if you held all 1,000 shares, you're stuck in the trade. You're not stuck in the trade, but you know what I'm saying. Now you still have 1,000 shares, didn't bank any profit, and now you're just holding 1,000 shares at a new high day. Take 500 shares down here, you make 50 bucks on 10 cents, and then when she comes back up, if you see her failing again like she does, and even if you come back down here, like as she comes back under 12, you add your 500 back. So now you averaged up off of, well, not averaged up technically, you're averaging, well, you sold 500, yeah. So you're now back at 1,000 shares, but you're still up here in the price point. And then when she comes back down, then you could theoretically do it all over again if you really wanted to. But that's actually, if she comes down, kind of comes back up, and then theoretically you could be, I'm pretty sure I drew this on mine, but you can see her forming a descending triangle even though it wasn't the best of triangles. But she does start to squeeze. She actually makes an attempt to go back up and she gets denied, comes right back down to the bottom of the triangle, and then she squeezes here on lower volume because of that. And the buyers kind of gave up here, and then once the buyers realize they're done, then everybody just sells off that had bought their shares. And that's, I wish I would have still been in this. The scanners were actually going pretty crazy this morning on Friday, yesterday. So I was looking all over the place, and I took my eyes off of this because it looked to me like she was kind of going back up. And I missed this little bit I missed these 3 or 4 minutes where I think I had saw it here, and I was like, okay, maybe she's going to climb. I actually don't think I had drawn these lines at that point either. So to me, it just kind of looked like she might be Ewing up to go high a day, and I just kind of took my attention off of it. But if I was staring at this stock and it was the only one I was looking at, I would have been shorting right here. I would have been all over this. And then, so that would have been 11, even say I got a bad entry at 1170, 1168. She drops all the way down and, kind of holds here for at least, 10, 15 seconds. You can kind of see it stopping, forming support. So you're looking at almost, what did I say, 60. So yeah, you're looking at 20 cents, over 20 cents on just a quick 1-2 minute trade. And so if you're trading 1,000 shares, like I said, this is a pretty, I don't want to say, it's pretty low risk, higher reward type trade. It's a higher percentage trade. So if you're taking your 1,000 shares here, that's 200 bucks, just like that, 2 minutes. And like I showed you in all these other examples, when you get these triangles like this after the intensity event, and this is what happens. I would almost want to say 7 to 8 times out of 10. So if you're trading them the same way, you're winning 70, 80% of the time, trading the same size. You guys can do the math. So with that said, guys, like I said, like and subscribe. I'm still obviously trying to grow the channel, give you guys some content, with the kiddos. It is a lot of work to run a channel, so I try to do it when they're sleeping or taking naps. And the oldest, I let him have some TV time when he's eating breakfast, and that's when I serve breakfast, is when the market opens. So that's kind of how I get around it. And the little one, he's napping at that time. I put him down for a nap right before the bell as well. So I kind of work around, I try to make it work. And so I appreciate any kind of support you guys give me. Stay green, and I'm taking tomorrow off, not going to do anything on Sunday. And I will see you guys Monday. I would say Monday morning, but the odds are I'll put the video out in the afternoon. So have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you guys Monday. See you.